Today I'm talking about 3 anime films, all featuring badass female protagonists. And the names of those 3 movies are Battle Angel, Blood the Last Vampire, and Kite. First up is Battle Angel. This is a 1993 film, and the basic premise is, in a dystopian future, there's this skilled doctor who discovers this metallic corpse of this person, brings her back to life. That's Gally, or also known as Alita. She decides to become a bounty hunter and meets a boy along the way, and then sad shenanigans ensue. And it's great. I love it a lot. To be fair though, I have seen the American live action film, Alita Battle Angel, and I've also read the entire first manga series. It's been a few years, so I don't remember a ton of it, but I remember crazy loving it over the course of like the 2 weeks that I read the whole thing. I definitely think part of why I enjoyed watching this so much is because it just reminded me so much of the universe and the story, and I was just like, oh yeah, there's so much about this stuff that I love. So I really can't judge this thing on its own. I definitely know that I connected to it, but I don't know how much someone who has not seen the live action movie or read the manga. I think you can enjoy it. I definitely think there's a lot for you to like. The action is top notch. The animation is great. It honestly made me sad that this was only just a small section of the story. I would love a faithful adaptation of the entire thing. I haven't even read everything because there's 2 other series after what I read that I know has so much more interesting stuff in there. And I'm kind of amazed that this never got like a full adaptation into an anime. Regardless though, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I had so much fun with this film. Like, it scratches such a deep itch for me. It's a really interesting sci-fi kind of fantasy world with all of this interesting lore and complex characters. There's just so much to chew on here. It makes me want to go back and reread the original series. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed this film. I am biased, but I do think without the context of the manga or the other movie, you would also enjoy it. Maybe not as much, but I think there's a good chance you would just baseline enjoy it. So yeah, no, crazy enjoyed, definitely recommend. Next up is Blood the Last Vampire. This is a 2000 film. It was originally supposed to be a 3-part story, but they didn't have enough finance for the whole thing, so they just did the middle section. You can tell that, but it still is a solid experience. I watched the live action version of this one first. That film wasn't great, but coming back to this, it did a lot of things that I hoped it would. It does start kind of boring, and there's some English performances that are not great. It's a mixture of English and Japanese because they're on an English military base in Japan. The basic premise is the main character is this monster hunter, basically, who's contracted by this organization to kill monsters. And they look like just regular people, but then they turn into beasts. But yeah, once it got into the action, the movie just sang. It was such great, gruesome, just interesting fight scenes. And what I loved too is that the lead is very capable. She can easily take out a bad guy with one swing, blood gushing everywhere. But if her sword gets destroyed or she loses it, she is just a tiny little woman, a vampire, but still, she can't just take on these giant, gruesome beasts that look fantastic. I love the look of the monsters without a weapon. And even like guns don't do anything. Like, you have to get shot and they be hurt a little bit, but that's not going to take down these beasts. A giant explosion won't take down these beasts. You need a lot of blood to come out all at once in order to kill these things, which you can really only do with like a very sharp object like a sword or an axe or a shovel. So much of the story, when she does lose her weapon, she's then just running away trying to find another one. And that added such a nice level of tension because it's like she is so capable, but she's not indestructible. Like, we see her get very hurt at times, and that just raised all of the stakes. Even though I was certain she was probably gonna make it out fine, there definitely was this part of me that was like, what could happen next? This didn't make it into my top ranking of a really like, because there are clear holes in this insofar as like, it's clear that this isn't the entire story. It's not clear what the monsters are going for, why they're doing stuff, why exactly we want her to kill them, besides them just being, you know, general monsters. If they have like a bigger, grander scheme, if they're organ organized? What is this organization that she's a part of? What's up with her being a vampire? Like, there's a lot of questions that really should be addressed that just aren't addressed, but that's because they just didn't have enough money to finish the entire story. So like, I get it, but I do have to kind of ding the movie a little bit. It's a quite liked for me, so it's basically a 4 to 5. So I would still recommend this movie. It's really fun, great action, interesting story. Just be prepared for not getting all of the answers you need, and if you can handle that, you're still in for a good, solid experience. Yeah, no, thoroughly enjoyed, definitely recommend. And lastly is Kite. This is a 1998 film, and the basic premise is this girl's parents were murdered. So she is taken in by this older man who turns her into an assassin and also his sex slave. One day she meets a boy who's also an assassin. They hit it off. They want to run away together. The bosses find out about this, and then bad stuff happens. Okay, what I liked about this was the action. The action was great. It was complicated, it was interesting. There's this scene in a bathroom that starts off pretty standard, but then just kind of keeps growing and growing and growing as far as action goes, and ends in such an interesting way. And there's so many other action set pieces that are just top notch. I love them. The action in this is without a doubt shining achievement, especially just like, it's not afraid to show blood or be gruesome, or like fingers being blown off, or holes in a head, or like a head exploding and having details there. So like, that stuff was great. I love that. But the story has a lot of messed up stuff in it. Like, the character is like 14 years old and she has a sexual relationship with an adult. That in and of itself is just so messed up. And there's a scene, which thankfully wasn't in my version of, that does exist, where it gets very graphic, which, oh my god, that's just so messed up. Even if this character isn't actually 14, let's just say she's 18 for sake of argument, there is no way this is a consensual relationship, and the stuff that happens to her is just so disgusting and messed up. And like, you can't have a story that is messed up stuff. I'm trying to be careful with my words just because like, it's just so gross. But the film kind of almost goes out of its way to still sexualize the main character. There's shots of like her skirt flying up when she's jumping through the air, or like she's sitting on the ground with someone and her legs are up and you can see most of her ass. You can't have a story where someone's being assaulted and also still want the audience to see her as a sexual thing, because then it almost feels like the intention of the story is a sexual assault fantasy. Even though like the assailants do, spoilers, get brutally murdered, it still feels like we're almost supposed to be in their shoes because of how much they're sexualizing the character. So I don't know, the whole thing is weird and gross and puts a bad taste in my mouth. I do think it's intended to be a dark story and to go to dark places, but I don't think they navigated the nuances of that well. I feel gross thinking about it. I feel kind of gross talking about it. I feel icky. So yeah, I initially put this one up higher, but kind of the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, I need to push this down a little bit. So it's not a didn't like, and it's not a liked, it's a meh. It's a solid meh. Because the action is fantastic. I love the action. It's so interesting and unique. And there's a lot of the other film that I'm just like, I don't want to think about this anymore. It's almost like the movie did its job too well. Like, the movie's trying to make you not feel good, but by pushing it to such an extreme, it just becomes an unpleasant experience. So yeah, would I recommend it? No. If you do really want to watch it, make sure it's the one without the really explicit scene, because good God, no. Yeah, okay, I'm done talking about this. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Battle Angels sitting at number 2 in the really like section. And then after that is Blood the Last Vampire sitting at number 6 in the quite like section. And then bringing up the rear is Kite sitting at number 9 in the meh section. And this is out of a total of 9 old movies so far this year.